Thanks for joining us on this month's Live at 525 with Rights and Democracy. And Rights and Democracy TV this month is bringing a report on the political revolution inspired by Bernie Sanders' run for president. We're going to hear from local musician Julie Winn about the Vermont Political Revolution Party, that she's helping organize that at Higher Ground on June 23rd, and also talk about other ways that people can get involved. I'll also hear a first-hand report from Rights and Democracy's Grant Taylor and Keri Ellis at the end of the table there. And Keri is with 350vermont.org, and we're going to hear about their experiences and the significance of the big break-free actions for climate justice that were held just last week in Albany, New York, and indeed around the world. But there were hundreds of Vermonters involved in Albany, so a really significant event that was not widely covered by the corporate media. And actually, let's show a picture of, well, we have a discussion of the Vermont Political Revolution Party. Let's bring up the poster. Nice looking poster. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this Vermont Political Revolution Party, okay?
Okay. So I'm a Burlington-based musician, singer-songwriter. I've been involved in social activism and justice in our community for over a decade, and have been involved with the Vermont Worker Center, and I'm a member of Rights and Democracy now. So excited to be working with the folks at Rights and Democracy to put this event on. It's taking place June 23rd at the Higher Ground Ballroom. And basically, there's a lot of enthusiasm all across the state of Vermont from all of the energy that Bernie Sanders has created in his campaign for presidency. And so a lot of the things that he's been talking about for building this political revolution, we really want to gather folks together and organize to continue that, or to build that movement on the local level, and bring people together around all of the things that Bernie's been talking about: healthcare, housing, livable wages, and really try to make of Vermont an economy that works for everybody in Vermont, make sure that Vermonters have access to health care and housing and paid sick days and all of those good things. So this is kind of a kickoff event to try to build that movement here in Vermont. And so we have some really great musicians who are really enthused and excited to be a part of this. Dwight and Nicole, Myra Flynn, DJ Craig Mitchell, wow. Lois Trombley, Chad Hollister, the Wee Folkestra, Radio Underground, and myself will all be performing at Higher Ground. The event is from 7 to 11.
What's the date again on that?
It's a Thursday, June 23rd. Yeah, the doors open at 7, and pretty much the event starts right there. There's going to be a lot of guest speakers. Rights and Democracy will be also announcing their endorsements for Vermont candidates, and as well as honoring some folks. I don't know if it's been announced, but honoring some folks that have done some really great work in the state. And so there's a lot of guest speakers that have yet to be announced, but we'll be rolling that out. You can check our Facebook page. There's an event, the Vermont Political Revolution Party event page on Facebook. You can also go to the Rights and Democracy website or Facebook page to access that and get more information. And so just follow it and get your tickets. Early bird tickets are available until June 1st. So
how do people get tickets?
Through the Higher Ground website. You can also go to the Rights and Democracy website, and there's a link to Higher Ground there. But yeah, so early bird tickets are available till June 1st. and I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing night. So, and I'm really excited to announce some of the guest speakers who will be popping up. So that'll be we'll roll that out in the next few weeks. So
bringing the political revolution back to Vermont and having some fun. Somehow it reminds me, there was this saying about, I don't want to be part of your revolution if I can't dance, something to that effect. So yeah,
that's
okay.
perfect. It's going to be a fun night.
So another thing that Rights and Democracy involved, and we're one of the sponsors of a big event happening in the People's Summit. Grant, why don't you tell us about that, and what's the connection with that and this political revolution?
Thanks, Trevin. So the National People's Action Group is a national organization that Rights and Democracy is a part of, and they're going to put on the People's
Summit.
The People's Summit in Chicago on June 17th through 19th on the weekend. This People's Summit is to bring people together and to try to build on the opportunity that we have, the political opportunity that we have right now, which is to bring justice and equality and freedom to the people. So Rights and Democracy is happy to send a couple of people out there from our group, and would be really happy to see many other people there too. This is something that you can get involved with through the People's Summit website. That's online. I don't know the actual website.
Yeah, I know if you just you Google People's Summit 2016, it brings you right there, and it's a pretty exciting program.
Yep. So some of the main things that are going to be going on at the People's Summit, some of the tracks that people are going to be learning about and discussing, are going to be the fight for $15 an hour, bringing voting rights to everybody, taxing Wall Street, working on a climate justice and a sustainable economy, expanding Social Security, constitutional pay equity for women, and many more things, many more issues that are very vital for us to really kind of strike while the iron's hot, now that we have the political interest and the motivation going on through this country.
The dates of this are kind of interesting. You know, it's June 17th through 19th, so that's following the last Democratic primary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's before the Democratic convention.
Before the big convention.
So I think this is a big and significant event, as I understand it, because I mean, I don't know, a week ago, over 1,500 people were registered. A lot of grassroots organizations were there. People are looking for a way beyond this electoral cycle. How do we continue to build this political revolution? How do we bring it to every state? How do we really continue to organize around issues of economic and social and climate justice? So this is.
So I also think this ties in really well with the Political Revolution Party that Rights and Democracy is sponsoring, and we're going to try to get this people power to grow and grow and grow.
All right. Well, great. Thanks, Grant. Thanks for that. I want to bring up a couple of posters now of some events from the Vermont gubernatorial panels that Rights and Democracy is hosting. The first one is going to be coming up just this next Tuesday, May 31st. That's in Montpelier. And that'll be followed by one in St. Albans on June 12th. And Rights and Democracy has been working with others to bring these gubernatorial panels around the state. We're really trying, in one of the sort of tragedies of the weak democracy that we have in this country is so many people really we saw it in the last electoral cycle, didn't vote, probably because people, quite frankly, felt that there wasn't a meaningful choice. There's also a question of people don't know where the politicians really stand. So that's one reason why we've been organizing these gubernatorial these events so people can actually raise questions of the politicians. Perhaps we're putting them on the spot, and maybe it's a way that for us to begin to try to hold them accountable. So Grant, your Rights and Democracy is a grassroots organization, though. You work with an organizing team. Tell us a little bit about an organizing team and how what's involved with that.
So Rights and Democracy is working with different towns in the state and different regions. I'm part of the Chittenden County organizing team. You can get involved in Chittenden County if you go to the Rights and Democracy website and start getting connected with some people there. So we're working again on a local level to really connect with people in the community and to help get their voice out and get what they're really motivated about and what they care about and get that up to the political stage. So that's what these organizing teams are really for.
There's a lot of ways that people can get involved, and frankly, we need to get involved. This is a people's movement, and sort of back to this Vermont Revolution Party. So how can people get involved with that, other than coming and getting tickets early on?
Besides coming to the event, I would definitely encourage people to go to the Rights and Democracy website, radvt.org, and there's lots of different campaigns and petitions that you can sign on. As of most recently, we created a petition on the superdelegates. That's up there. You can sign that. There's also
And that actually had some success already.
It did.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was really exciting. And yeah, you'll see there's different events listed, so you can come out to various events and just learn how you can be, I guess, you can be part of the organization more. But yeah, I would just definitely encourage people to come to this event as a great networking way to meet people that are like-minded and care about the future of Vermont. So,
in addition to having fun, there might be some 700 people there you want to meet.
Yeah, those are the type of people I'd want to meet. So.
Okay. Why don't we turn to the end of the table here? Keri Ellis has been sitting quietly, but just tell us about 350.org and 350vermont.org.
Sure. Well, 350.org is a nationwide organization that works both nationally and internationally. And 350 Vermont is the state affiliate for 350.org. And the purpose of the organization is to combat climate change and to work to lower emissions, and specifically doing that by working to eliminate fossil fuels. So the name itself actually comes from a threshold, a scientific threshold of 350 parts per million, which is considered to be the top safe level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And the last measured amount, which I believe came out yesterday, had the carbon dioxide level at 407 parts per million. So we're already past what scientists consider to be the safe level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So part of sorry, go ahead. Right?
I'm just,
the jaw drops.
Yeah, so what does that mean for the plans of our political leaders for incrementally dealing with this existential crisis?
Yeah, it's, well, definitely the time to act was yesterday, 2 weeks ago, 5 years ago, to prevent us from passing a very dangerous level. So the argument for incremental change really is ringing more and more hollow every day, because we don't actually have the time or the space, the wiggle room, if you will, to have the kinds of change that many people in this conversation are advocating for.
I don't know if this is a fair question to ask you, but thinking about wiggle room. So we have the two leading candidates for president of this country, one of whom says that, of course, it's all a hoax. The science is wrong, and he'll cancel the agreements that happened in Paris, the COP21 agreements. The other candidate acknowledges that there is a problem with the climate, but has been promoting fracking all over the world. What do we do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, certainly what what people can do on an everyday level is to be aware of the real science, if you will, to understand that regardless of the position, regardless of the office, regardless of the party, what needs to happen now is real climate leadership, and a lot of the positions and a lot of the rhetoric that's being tossed around is really at very best irresponsible, and at worst words that I'm sure you probably don't want us to use on television, so I won't. But yeah, there's a whole lot of yeah, just a lot of discussion of things that are really settled and have been, like I say, thresholds that we've passed. It's not even a matter of what do we do to keep from getting there. It's gone. So those conversations really just need to stop, and we need to be talking about things that really matter and things that we actually can do. And that's a lot of what 350's work is focusing on ending our incredible dependence on fossil fuels, which is one of the primary drivers of elevated carbon dioxide levels and climate change itself.
You know, there's a perception that some people might get from the corporate media that this problem was solved in Paris. But you're part of a movement, a global movement, right?
Correct.
I mean, was it break free from fossil fuels? I mean, tell us something about that global movement.
Sure. So Break Free was a as you mentioned, a global campaign, of which 350 was one of the primary organizers. But there was, I believe, about 40 groups that were primary organizers of that event, and it was 2 weeks of action around the globe. There were
around the globe.
Around the globe.
Really?
Yep.
How
on
widespread?
6 continents.
Wow.
6 continents. There were 20 main actions, and then smaller actions outside of those that took place during those 2 weeks, or sort of a couple days on either side. And more than 30,000 people participated. So they were in places as varied as Brazil, Turkey, Indonesia, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, Wales. There were, I believe, either 6 or 7 actions within the United States and Canada. So it was really a huge groundswell of activity to say on all fronts, whether it's extraction, whether it's transportation, whether it's financing. All of these things that are shoring up the fossil fuel industry need to stop.
Why don't we've got a brief video that 350.org just put out today. It's pretty fresh. Why don't we watch that? I think it's like 2 minutes long.
There's more than 450 activists on Newcastle Harbour right now.
Yeah, global movement. And in fact, there were hundreds of Vermonters who traveled to Albany as part of a local event. I know Keri and Grant were there with a lot of other Vermonters. Grant, tell us something about the Albany protest and why Albany?
Okay, in Albany, New York, there's a very large port and rail yard where hundreds of rail cars come in each week to bring crude Bakken oil from North Dakota, from the middle of our country, over to the waterways. The oil is then put on ships and carried out to refineries on the East Coast. At the moment, there's communities that live near these railroad tracks. And a long time ago, when these communities were constructed and the railroad tracks were there weren't these rail cars going through these communities. Within the past 5 or 10 years, this oil has become a very good source for America to make some money.
Are you making money out of this, Grant? Tell me about your stocks and your investments.
I suppose I benefit from the machine that is America. I can think of plenty of communities around this world that are suffering because of climate change right now, and America isn't really one of them. So sadly, I feel like I do benefit from this. Ashamedly. So these people, they're living next to these train tracks. There's the oil that's in these railroad cars, the railroad cars that's carrying this oil were not constructed for this oil. There have been accidents, and these accidents are huge, and they are devastating, and they're travesties.
Tell us, something happened in Quebec. Tell us a little bit about that, would you?
In Lac-Mégantic, Quebec, there was a derailment of an oil train, just like these cars that are carrying this oil in Albany, and the result was 47 people died, and there was destruction to the environment from the oil and the burning of this fuel. The real scary tragedy is that these communities don't live within a safe distance of these cars.
Well, we see we've got a picture of one of these. People call it bomb trains. Why don't we bring that up? People get a sense of how big these things are.
Yeah, and so these trains are passing next to a chain link fence. They're about 30 feet away from the chain link fence, and about 10 feet, 20 feet on the other side of the chain link fence is a basketball court and low-income housing. So there are windows. Sometimes when we drive down the interstate, we notice that communities get a nice sound wall so that they don't have to listen to the interstate. What does this community get? They get a picket fence between them and a bomb. This is why we concentrated our efforts on Albany. And I believe Keri may know a little bit more about Albany and why we chose to kind of circle that area.
Yeah, the choice of Albany was certainly a deliberate one. Number one, the action that's been going on with the community and the residents of Ezra Prentice homes has been going on for a long time.
That's an African American community, basically, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, not a coincidence, I suspect. Yeah,
the south end of Albany is primarily has African American residents, to my understanding. So this has been something that's been going on for a long time within their community, and the overall message that fossil fuel irresponsible practices, again, best sort of the nicest way to put it is to call it just irresponsible, affects people on a local level, on a regional level, on a national level, and on a global level. So certainly the folks at Ezra Prentice are right at the epicenter of the danger of these bomb trains. But by the same token, these same trains, before they get to Albany, they go down the western side of Lake Champlain. So if there was a derailment or some other sort of accident, you could have millions of gallons of crude oil going into Lake Champlain, going into the Hudson River, going into the St. Lawrence, going into the Great Lakes as it makes its way over from North Dakota. So, so as I say, it has local, regional, national, and global implications.
Because we're running low on time. Say something about the role of civil disobedience and why that's a tactic or a strategy in this.
Absolutely. Well, that was a big component of the Break Free campaign, was the civil disobedience component, and it's about making sure that that the powers that be have some tension that's put in front of them, so that people, by their own actions, by putting themselves at risk, both physically and legally, show just how important this issue is, and again that the time for action is past and now. So it is something that that the folks who are making these sorts of decisions, who are talking about the issue on the political stage, understand just how critical it is that real action is taken now to get away from fossil fuels, to have a just transition for renewable energy, and to bring about real change to the economy for all of us.
Okay, I want to thank you very much for sharing that picture with us. So I hope to see listeners and viewers at the May 31st Montpelier event, or June 12th in St. Albans, at the Raise Up Vermont gubernatorial panels that we'll be holding, and of course, it'll be fun to turn out on June 23rd. What time is that again?
7 o'clock, 7 to 11.
At Higher Ground?
At Higher Ground.
In Burlington for the Vermont Political Revolution Party. So until next month, well, hope to see you before then, but until our Rights and Democracies Live at 525 show in June, take it easy, but take it, and solidarity. And thanks to our guests.
Thank you.
Thank you.